My heart raced as I scrolled through the Facebook Marketplace listings, searching for a new piece of furniture to add to my apartment. The worn-out couch in my living room had seen better days, and I was determined to find a replacement that wouldn't break the bank. Little did I know that my quest for a bargain would lead me down a dark and terrifying path. I stumbled upon a listing that caught my eye, an antique mirror with an ornate Gothic frame. The seller, a user named Eternal Reflections, claimed it was a family heirloom with a mysterious history. The price was unbelievably low, almost too good to be true. Intrigued by the idea of owning a piece of history, I messaged the seller to express my interest. To my surprise, Eternal Reflections responded almost immediately. Their message was cryptic, mentioning that the mirror held a power that could reveal hidden truths. Skeptical but curious, I arranged to meet the seller at their address later that evening. The sun had dipped below the horizon by the time I arrived at the designated location, a decrepit house on the outskirts of town. The neighborhood was desolate, with overgrown weeds and the eerie stillness of abandoned homes. Doubts gnawed at the edges of my mind, but the allure of the mysterious mirror urged me to press on. I hesitated at the front door, its peeling paint revealing the scars of neglect. Swallowing my apprehension, I knocked 3 times. The door creaked open, revealing a dimly lit hallway that seemed to stretch into darkness. A chill ran down my spine as I stepped inside. The air inside the house was thick with an otherworldly energy, and the flickering lights cast dancing shadows on the walls. I called out to announce my presence, but the only response was the echoing silence. I pressed on, following a trail of flickering candles that led me deeper into the heart of the house. In a room at the end of the hallway, I found Eternal Reflections standing beside the antique mirror. The seller's face was obscured by the shadows, but their voice was a haunting whisper that seemed to echo in the still air. They explained that the mirror had the power to reveal the true nature of one's soul, unveiling secrets hidden even from the individual themselves. My skepticism intensified, but a strange compulsion urged me to peer into the reflective surface. As I gazed into the glass, my own reflection seemed to waver and distort. The room around me faded, and I found myself standing in an unfamiliar place, a dark, foreboding forest cloaked in an unnatural mist. Panic set in as I realized I was no longer in control of my surroundings. The mist whispered eerie secrets, and shadowy figures moved in the periphery of my vision. Desperation clawed at my chest as I tried to break free from the nightmarish landscape. The scene shifted again, and I found myself back in the dimly lit room with the antique mirror. Eternal Reflections grinned, revealing a mouth filled with razor-sharp teeth. The atmosphere grew suffocating, and I felt an unseen force pulling at the very fabric of my being. With a jolt, I snapped back to reality, gasping for breath. The room was silent, the only sound being the faint hum of the flickering candles. Eternal Reflections was nowhere to be seen. Trembling, I stumbled out of the house and into the cool night air, the weight of the mirror's revelation lingering in my mind. Over the following days, I couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed within me. The mirror's revelations haunted my every thought, and strange occurrences unfolded around me. Shadows seemed to move of their own accord, and chilling whispers echoed in the stillness of my apartment. I sought answers, scouring the internet for information on the mirror and its sinister seller. To my horror, I discovered a trail of similar stories, each one recounting a descent into madness and supernatural torment. The once alluring antique had become a cursed artifact, a conduit for malevolent forces that preyed on those who dared to gaze into its depths. Terrified and desperate to break free from the grip of the cursed mirror, I decided to destroy it. Armed with a hammer, I returned to the abandoned house, determined to shatter the ominous relic and sever its connection to my soul. As I approached the room where I had first encountered Eternal Reflections, a guttural growl echoed through the darkness. The air became charged with malevolence, and the shadows writhed in anticipation. With each step, the oppressive atmosphere closed in, and the oppressive weight of an unseen presence bore down on me. I reached the room and raised the hammer, ready to obliterate the cursed mirror. But before I could strike, a voice whispered in my mind, a haunting chorus of souls trapped within the ancient glass. Their tortured whispers pleaded for release, and I hesitated, torn between my own salvation and the empathetic pull of the tormented spirits. In that moment of indecision, the mirror shattered on its own, the fragments falling to the floor with a deafening crash. The room erupted in a blinding light, and I was engulfed by an otherworldly force. The last thing I heard was the anguished wails of the trapped souls as the darkness claimed me. I awoke with a start, my body drenched in sweat. The room was silent, the remnants of the shattered mirror scattered across the floor. Trembling, I realized that the curse had been lifted. The malevolent presence that had haunted me was gone, and the whispers that had tormented my mind had faded into the ether. As I stumbled out of the abandoned house, the first rays of dawn painted the sky in hues of pink and gold. The nightmare was over, but the memories of that fateful encounter would forever linger in the recesses of my mind. The Facebook Marketplace bargain had come at a price far greater than any monetary value. It had cost me my sanity and nearly my soul.